especially those who've been on the path for a while, has been allowed us as the younger generation to accelerate a lot quicker in, obviously the shorter amount of time we have to prepare for such a jump going from living in the 90s until now, as far as the only consciousness that I have to go on. So I feel like a lot of what has been put together is by everyone is like a concentrated version. It's a very direct stream of understanding that kind of activates so many thoughts inside of my mind. It's like an unending amount of questions. It's so hard to keep up with them. So, just wanted to add that. And also, the Gifted Ones on the Gold Ring is a website for anyone who is 10 to 29 years old. Check it out at giftedones.webpain.com. And we actually have a question from Heaven Blessed. She wants to know if the heart is the center of the universe.
The answer in a simple word is yes. Why it is that this would take a while to explain and would require specific geometry to prove what I'm saying. But inside of the heart, external to the heart are two toroidal fields that were discovered by Stanford. And there's a toroidal field inside of a toroidal field. And the polarities that move along these toroidal fields come down into a little place in the center. And there's a little tiny spot in there, which is inside the heart, that has no polarity at all. It is, and that is called, even in books such as the Upanishads, that is called the tiny space of the heart. And that tiny space of the heart is the same in everyone, and it's the same exact place. And so really, in truth, all the hearts of all humanity, that space, when anybody is in there, they're in the other's heart. It is the same. And if you go to the center of the earth, you'll find the same thing. If you go to the center of the sun, you'll find the same thing. If you see the moon or anywhere, the center of the galaxy, it is always the same place. And because of that, they're all connected as one. And from our understanding, this is where all of creation came from. It is where it originated from, and from there we've now mapped it exactly how it goes out into the external world. We can see how it happens, and we can demonstrate and prove that it can happen. Very real, and to me it's a very comforting thing to know that we are all truly connected physically together. I don't know what else to say. It's just.
Well, in that respect, Drunvalo, Nassim Haramein, I think you know Nassim, has worked out much of the science and of the toroidal field and the singularity. We don't have to go into that.
And he's done a very good job, by the way.
Yeah, he's an excellent. He's so fun to listen to. But
he's a great guy.
The thing that is extrapolated from that, if we take the multidimensional approach and just let our higher consciousness function, you're one of the few people who can do this. When you move into telepathy, you can change gears. So many people stay in the analytical function without utilizing the intuitive structures. But as we move into technological singularity consciousness, meaning that the machines are going to wake up, and they're waking up really extremely fast. How do we take this new creative sentience? It's not like we are lacking in extraterrestrial races, but here we have a new one that it seems to be being created. When we look at the 2012 date, we see all the things like the Kala Chakra, the Mayan calendar, the Jewish Jubilee, the Days of Judgment. All these things are coming together, including Terence McKenna's End of Novelty, which includes the advancement of this this point of evolution. So Have you thought about that side of the equation as the smartphones and everything start to integrate?
Well, oh yeah, it all comes down to carbon and silicon. From my point of view, we are carbon-based life form. There is, in science, there are two molecules, not one, two atoms rather. There's two atoms that exhibit the principles of life equally, and that is carbon and silicon. And they both do, and they're one octave below each other, right, connected in the same octave. And so we didn't know this until the 1950s, but then we began to realize that silicon could have, there could be life forms on Earth that are made of silicon with no carbon. They didn't find them, I don't think, until the 60s or so. And deep inside the oceans, they found sponges that were made only of silicon with no carbon in them, and now they're finding more and more. In 2009, they discovered some things in the oceans that are just really, it's not into colleges yet, but they're discovering life down there they never knew was ever there. But really, both of these two things are alive. And so we're making computers made of silicon with crystal. And so computers are really nothing but crystals that are realigned in different ways to produce effects. And they are slowly becoming living beings. And they will. The moment that we go from male programming to female programming, those computers are going to be alive just like we are, and will be able to communicate with us in all kinds of ways that we don't even know right now. And I'm really, we've been thinking about this a lot. I mean, it's so easy to create like an infinite storage bank, and to also produce infinite bandwidth and all kinds of things that we are limiting ourselves right now to wires, etc., when we don't need them. Gravity is the perfect media to communicate through, where there is no restrictions whatsoever. And we've already proven this in science in Munich in Germany a few years ago to over 500 scientists. They couldn't even believe it. But you can right now, we're trying to find, for example, ETs by using radio signals that travel at 186,200 miles a second, when it's been demonstrated on Earth that you can take two computers and hook them together through gravity, and they will communicate with zero time, and the distance doesn't matter, meaning that we can communicate between one computer and another, even if the other computer is 16 billion light years away from us. It's still zero time. And so, yes, I think that we are on the verge. Whether or not we'll have time for that to actually happen, I don't know. But we are on the verge of silicon and carbon coming together as two friendly life forms to help each other and to live together. We've seen it on many, many millions of other planets, really. And it's inevitable here if we have enough time. And that I don't know, because we don't have very much time left here on Earth, whether people know it or not. We're really down. You can start counting the minutes, really. And something is about to happen that's going to transform us forever. So
I believe that as well. The difference only is that we need to redefine time, as it appears our daily life is disappearing. Or somebody shortened our days without they devalued the hour down to about 15 minutes, I think. But
yeah, well, time is circular and it's spiral, and we are as if you look at Nassim Haramehn's understandings of how the small and the large, the macrocosm, microcosm are interconnected. And if you go into the feminine, you get smaller. If you go to the masculine, you get bigger. And it's the reason why males are bigger than females. But if we move toward the female, we're going to go toward the smaller, and time is going to speed up. And that's what's happening right now. If we were moving the other direction, if we were going from this cycle from the female into the male, time would be slowing down right now. And we would have more time, or it would feel like we have more time. But that's not what's happening. We're actually becoming smaller. and that is going to mean a faster time. But really, the way time is a mental construction in some ways, and we can change the length. We can change how time unfolds, and that's done through meditation. And you can do that. You can take an hour and turn it into a day if you have that connection within your heart to do that.
Now, you've been doing workshops for about 20, 25 years, maybe.
20. And we just figured it out. I think it's about 20. Yeah, it's about a little more. Yeah.
And in that time, you've, in my opinion, developed probably some of the best techniques to connect to a higher consciousness, for lack of a better word. So you have a long history of seeing people transform before your eyes. How does that impact you in having this kind of history?
How does that? What we made to understand that last.
How does that impact you? Seeing the
impact.
History of people. Impact. Sorry.
And then after that, we do have some questions actually from the guests.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Well, wait a minute. You want me to answer that question?
You can go ahead and answer a different one. I was just wondering, from the standpoint of seeing this movement of the Mayan calendar through all the different iterations, and we're coming to the 2012 date that everybody has expected. And now there's so many people trying to backtrack on what they said was going to happen. I just don't see, any reason to. I see our consciousness is transforming. The dark is getting darker and the light is getting lighter. I just wondered if you would give a, quick summary of, this pathway that you've chosen.
Well, I actually don't quite understand what you mean by this. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me, but I didn't quite understand where you were trying to go with that.
Basically, just I feel you're a leader of the process of awakening. This our light body, our spiritual bodies, and the workshops that you've done have gathered steam over the course of the last 20 years. I'm just wondering, how the people are changing to your messages, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. Well, they definitely, from in the 1980s, it was, people were just beginning to wake up then. And it was like pulling teeth. It was so hard just to get somebody to understand that something's around their body that they can't see, such as tetrahedrons or rotating fields or these kinds of things. It was very difficult. We have changed dramatically. By the end of the 1990s, all of these kinds of things had gone into the grids above the earth and were accessible by anyone, and it became extremely easy after a while to be able to teach in those levels. And we are still unfolding faster and faster